Okay. So my name is Zach Smith. I am here to teach you about introduction to foam latex prosthetics. I'm more here to teach you about how you would do makeup for film and television as opposed to a haunt, but I will marry in where the two will meet, the differences and tools you might use, what would be better for film and television versus what might be better for your haunting attractions. Tell you a little bit about my experience and why I'm here in front of you today. Dan and his big eyes. My model Dan, everybody. He's a great guy, phenomenal local actor. So anyway, I've only been at this about 5 years, maybe a little longer. I fell into it really unexpectedly. Wasn't anything I really had ever had planned. I really enjoyed sci-fi movies a lot as a kid, horror, things most people who enjoy haunts and stuff like that, enjoy. But just never really built or anything like that, So, life goes on, whatever, grow up, blah, 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 got married. And honestly, was looking for something to do. Life had become mellow. I was, coming out of my 20s, and, at that point, you tend to calm down a little bit, and I was looking for something fun to do. And, I always sort of liked makeup, and my wife, kind of suggested, hey, why don't you give it a shot? And, so I had a friend at the time who was working at some haunted houses. He had a tiny bit of makeup experience, and so I worked with him a little bit, and I love haunts. I love blood and guts. I love, like I said, scary movies. But as far as makeup goes, I wanted to do a little bit more. I really liked sci-fi characters. I loved animal characters, Klingon, things that weren't necessarily blood and guts. And so I really wanted to, kind of learn how to do all those things, and had applied at a makeup school in the area. Didn't end up going. It just wasn't financially feasible at the time, and so the lady who ran the school, Michael Key, he's the publisher of Makeup Artist Magazine. They were starting up a kind of an effectsy program, and he needed a model. And so I ended up doing the modeling for that. Well, that led to modeling for a fellow named Thomas Supernon, who he's well known for Donnie Darko, wanted an Emmy for Star Trek, worked on The Grinch, like you name it, Tom's probably been on it. Delusion tool brushes, which are great brushes for haunts, great brushes in general. You'll see Tom's name all over them because he helped invent them. So he asked me if I wanted to help this class that he was coming up to teach, and I knew scar wax, I knew latex a little bit, I knew blood, I knew haunt stuff. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I think a good attitude to have as an artist, and I think a lot of reason that I have gotten work, and is I will, say, if I don't know it, I'll learn. And generally I will. And so that's pretty much what I told him. I'm like, I have no idea what we're doing, but I'll figure it out. And so for about 2 years, I worked with him off and on when he would come up to teach. And that led to, some television, some movies. I just got off a film recently with a gentleman named Pablo Schreiber. I've got to have some fun, there's a lot of fun stuff to do in the area as far as, things that come through, and I got really lucky, but, I kind of got thrown into it and just had to learn as it went, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that as we go on, and like maybe what you should expect for yourself. A lot of what this class is maybe what to expect as a beginning artist, how you conduct yourself, things of that, or how you should conduct yourself. A lot of this class is going to be opinion and things that help me a lot to get work. I'll pause there and talk to you a little bit about what we're doing here, and then we'll come back to that. So here, what I'm doing, and what I was doing to him was I was prepping his face. I'm using a silicone adhesive called Telesis 8 or Telesis 5. Great adhesive, really expensive, worth it. So it's a two-part system. You have your modifier, you have your glue. With your modifier, after you make sure your after skin is clean before we got in here, you lay down your modifier, and that'll help the adhesive grip to the skin. Now what you do, or one thing I was told to do, to make your gluing easier, we're turning him into a pig today, a big giant pig man, so he'll be walking around in a Viking costume later, not going to make any sense, but it'll be fun. So to get your process sped up a little bit, take your glue, you kind of go all over it. Stay about half an inch away from your edge, your blending edge. And I'll show you why here in a little bit. You just don't want that sticking to itself, or you're going to get a hard edge, and you don't want that. So take care of all that. And one sec. Talc powder, just regular billiard talc, unscented. You can get a lot of it for really cheap, but a lot of places, you can get makeup talc or whatever. It's usually fragranced and a lot more expensive than you should buy, but you don't have to. So talc it out. It'll take the tack away. And I'll explain to you why I do this here in a sec. Okay, so get all that stickiness out of there. Okay, so the reason we do that is when we go to fit it to him, and when we go to apply it to his skin, when the modifier, so when I poured the glue, I mixed it in with a bit of modifier, that will reactivate the glue in the prosthetic, and that will hold it, so you have a little bit of hold as you're going. You don't have to necessarily do it that way, but if you're doing quicker applications, or you just want to make it a little easier on yourself, I would recommend that. Alright, and so I'm going to match it up to Dan's face. This wasn't specifically made for Dan. A good part, as I'm sure you all know, you can buy foam latex prosthetics, from a lot of decent shops, and, it definitely makes artistry easier. If I do have like one big opinion that I would recommend to all of you, learn how to make your own stuff. It is convenient, to buy. I myself, I live in a small place. I have animals. Cooking foam latex, it's not an option for me, so I go with silicone. I do things of that nature. But you can do all these great paint jobs, all these great applications, and then when you go to get hired, you're like, well, can you sculpt? Can you make molds? Can you do anything? You're like, well, no. Well, why do I want to hire you then? And it's not that you have to do that. You should just. I always say it's good to know a lot about a little and not a little about a lot, which is cliche, but it's very true in makeup. So we are going to match this up to his face. Now, if you could be a super sweetheart, Dan, and just hold that there for me. You can, get a good grip line, just keep it pressed up. All right. And so now with this.
Got a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a ball cap on, or just?
Yeah, we ball capped him before we came down a little bit, just because I didn't want it to take up more time for class, because they do take a little while. All right, so here with the talc, I'm just going to kind of go around and powder a quick basic outline on his face. And since this is a big prosthetic, I'm not really too worried about it. What we're doing that for, and we go for it. Thank you.
You're doing that under that, where the edge will be?
Exactly. And so what we'll do there, glue brush, and so with prosthetics, depending on what it is, obviously, some will lay down differently, some will start mouth to top, but generally like something like this and a lot of, just basic prosthetics, you want to start at the nose. One reason I like foam over silicone is because it does stretch. And that's what makes it easy to use all those appliances on a variety of people. So let's start here at Dan's nose.
You're using the same adhesive?
Yeah. And then it's going to paint a little bit on here. And then with Dan and your actors, how's that feel on your right there? Okay. All right, cool. All right. Yeah, no, it looks rad. Sure, I'll get up and shoot a little. All right. All right. Okay. But it's on there, good. Okay. Yeah, for a second. Okay. So, sorry. So with Dan, we talked a little bit beforehand. He has a goal coming up, and he wasn't able to shave any of his facial hair. Generally, this is a problem. We're going to be doing a hand-laid beard later. We might not get to it during this class, but I'll be down at the Magic Wheelchair booth finishing this up when we're all done. And so, with facial hair, you know, here it's not a big deal. It's going to be covered. It's going to be great. But, you know, with your actors and stuff, you know, try to make sure they're as clean shaven as possible. And there are ways to cover it up as well. Vinyl bald caps work decently with beard hair too. It's not going to be a fix-all, end-all kind of thing, but I was thinking about doing that with him. But yeah, no, it's just we'll lay out some facial hair and just make it a little easier on ourselves. So once you get it down, it really is just about working it around the face and working it slowly. And here's where I'll talk a little bit about the differences between foam latex and haunted houses. When you're working at a lot of haunted houses, a lot of the prosthetics they'll have are made from just the standard regular slip latex or like balloon latex, and can be to a degree re-sanitized and reused because it is a solid piece. It won't break down under alcohol, at least not immediately. The foam latex, you're probably not going to find those in haunts a lot because they are pretty much a one and done use because of the glue, the things you use to remove it. If you're ever being worked on by someone who's trying to reuse a silicone prosthetic or a foam latex prosthetic on you, I would definitely question their work ethic and maybe request a new artist. And that's just me being kind of a catty person, but a big part of this is sanitation, taking care of your actors, whether you're in a haunt or whether you're in film. When I first started teaching, you know, like I said, I got kind of thrown into teaching, so I really taught before I had a chance to learn, but, you know, a lot of students would come in and, you know, I want to work with celebrities and blah, 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 and that's just terrible attitude.
You're always outsiders for our rights. So it's producing naturally.
So anyway, terrible attitude to have. You treat everyone like they're a celebrity. You're dealing with faces, you're dealing with people's skin, you're touching strangers. You want to make them as comfortable as you can. Some people, and especially the reason I love haunts, is people are really into it. You kind of get a little bit more excitement, I guess, if you would, that like you're actually doing it as a job day in and day out, you know, but you really just, I can't stress the comfortability of your actors enough. And a lot of people really tend to forget about that because they become artists. And if you're good at what you do, you know, you might get an ego, and rightfully so. You know, don't be a jerk about it. It's good to be proud of what you do. It's another thing to act like you are the end all. You're there for your directors. You're there for the people that are assigned to your care. It's not about you. And a lot of people will come in with their makeup bag and think, hey, I'm here. No one cares. I'm sorry, but makeup work it's unrewarding in the fact that, you know, you do what you do because you love it, but, you know, it's not like it was in the old days, like with John Chambers and Planet of the Apes. You're not going to be going to premieres and limos. You work hard, and you get a cool end product. And really, if you're doing this, that's all it should be for you, to learn, to work, and hope that you get to do something cool someday. And really, that's, you know, what happened for me. It's not that I don't take what I do seriously, because I do. But I always maintain the attitude that I just kind of want to hang out and make cool stuff, and I still do. And it's gotten me some fun opportunities, you know, and it's just, I don't know, I've met people on both sides of the tracks that really want to do it for financial, you know, gratification, and, you know, granted, we all want to you know, be paid well for our time, but, you know, artistry of any kind is about the love of it. And so, you know, I would definitely, if you're getting into makeup, and especially if you're wanting to try and make a career out of it, examine your motives. You know, if you're doing art, if you've always been artsy, if you always doodle, you know, that's a good reason to become an artist, you know. If you like movies and think hanging out with celebrities can be fun, and that's the easiest way to do it, then I would just say, you know, figure out something else. But yeah, so anyway, back to the teaching a little bit. Pretty much the same thing we're doing here. We got it almost all the way down. I don't generally glue around the eyes until last. Part of the reason being is because with the just standard pieces here, a lot of the trouble that you're going to come into, and because you will have to fold some of these, you'll have to make some hard edges, and then you'll have to blend them out. The eyes, because that's what people are going to look into the most, you want to try and keep your edges away from there and kind of like more up here. Yeah, so you really want to just take your time, make sure he's doing okay. And I do like questions. If anyone has questions, I do better if more as a 20 questions type of person. So if anyone has any, just shout it. I'm happy to answer. And I don't mean to be so cynical as far as like, you know, the artist versus the celebrity thing, but yeah, when I was teaching, I was talking to me a little bit about this yesterday downstairs. Like, you know, everyone probably knows of the show Face Off or seen it. I'm guessing. Yes, no. All right. A lot of students would come in, and it was really frustrating because for me it was a huge opportunity. You know, working with Thomas, I had known his work for a while, and so for me it was really special. And you know, the students were coming in and had a very nonchalant attitude about the process, and we're like, well, this is hard. It's not like it was on Face Off. And so for, you know, months at a time, we would have like 2, maybe 3 good students, really good students, and then we would have 4 or 5 that were just struggling because, you know, they saw something that looked cool and thought it'd be a fun idea. So that's where a lot of my frustration in that comes in. It's not that you have to be good or anything like that. You know, as long as you're willing to learn and don't think that it's going to happen. If they came in, picked up a brush and thought, you know, why the hell am I not getting a 6-foot-tall horn demon? Well, whatever. And so, a lot of my cynicism comes from that. But yeah, I don't know. I think makeup is for everybody, honestly, or at least artistry. I really like this conviction for that reason. Okay, so now, come back to that in a minute. I'm starting to go into the edges a little bit with the glue. And then now I was saying you don't want to go to your edges. Now when you're doing foam latex and you cook it out, you're gonna, and again, this will come with sculpting and stuff like that when you learn, but you'll have your blend line, which is basically this, the little thin membrane here that is tissue thin. And then what the glue, and again, why I like tell us this in the modifier, is the modifier blends it to the head and like basically thins it out. And when the modifier evaporates, the glue is going to hold that edge down. Now, Dan, go turn your head to the side there for me. You see how it goes clear like that? Just kind of push your edges out a little bit. Okay. Keep that there for a sec. You. Okay. Beautiful. All right. And then so, let that dry down a little bit. You can kind of tap it out. And if you guys can see there in the back, the edges are still a little raised up. Now when you're going, and this is how you really get a good edge. A lot of people just slap it down in. I'm sure you see makeups, and especially like, you know, haunts and stuff, you're going to have that edge. You're having to do makeup quick, you're having to slap down prosthetics quick, and then you're having a hairbrush, you know. And like I said, with the slip latex, you're not gonna get the edge that you do here. So, again, why you would not use this for film and television, or for cons, and why you use it for film. So, you take a little bit of talc on your powder puff, and you just kind of brush it out. Be a little rough. If your actor that you're, working with, knows you well, I mean, generally warn your people when you're gonna come in and just start pushing on their head, but, Dan and I have worked together a few times, he knows the process, I'm not gonna really go over with him too much. So, we are pretty darn good. All right.
Now, do you measure and trim the eyes if you need to?
No, and I'll tell you what. With that, I mean, you may do a little bit of stretching, but this is why I really, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do it while it's on the face. With foam latex, you do not want to cut it. And this is also applicable, like when you're doing your blend edges or whatever. When you get a mold out of the thing and you're tearing off, the stuff that you don't need, you pick it by finger, because you want your edges to be, I don't want to say rough, but you don't want straight edges, because it'll come off looking exactly like that. So when you're doing a bald cap, or you're doing a prosthetic, or anything of that nature, you are definitely going to want to keep your edges, as edgy as you can, I guess, would be a good way to put it. So, so when you're laying down, it's easy to go. But yeah, once you cut into it, it just gives it a really unnatural look. And then same with bald caps. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Even though it's not a bald cap class, why not? Yeah. So with bald caps, the same thing. People will put it on, they'll glue it down, they'll cut up and around the ear, so on and so forth. And that's fine, but then when you paint it down, you're gonna, if you cut it this way, you're gonna get an obvious hard diagonal edge. And so what you do with it, I personally like vinyl myself because it blends out with acetone, which is a lot easier on your actor's skin than latex per se, which you would generally blend out with a naphtha, which is basically lighter fluid. You got to be really careful with it, and it takes forever, and it's not actor safe really. If you're a good makeup artist and you know what you're doing, it's never going to touch your actor, and it's not a problem. Now me, I had a student where I let her do a bald cap on me, and she went right in my skin with the edge blender, as you call it, and it just tore my skin apart. So I would definitely recommend vinyl, especially if you're doing haunts. We got his on, glued down, and blended in I think about a half an hour, which, I do a lot of ball casts, so you get used to it, but they are definitely the quicker alternative by far. So yeah, long question or long answer. Yeah, you don't want to cut your prosthetics. It's a bad idea. If you're saving time, cut your ball caps, but that's not the only time I would ever really recommend doing that. We are almost about ready to start painting, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you ever pre-paint your foam pieces?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Okay, Google, set a timer for an hour and a half. I just want to make sure that I'm not taking up your guys' time. I like pre-painting, just because I like painting, so it's relaxing in general. I do a lot of, and again, this will come for like newer artists and stuff. You don't get the luxury of having time a lot of the time. You don't, productions aren't looking to cater to new artists kind of thing. So you make do with what you have. And actually, a reason I don't have like a whole bunch of stuff in front of me is I also wanted to teach you the importance of traveling in life. Because in a lot of my early films, when I started out on this, The Walking Dead was still pretty new, so anybody local was doing a zombie movie. So I think for about like the first year and a half that I was doing this was basically all zombies in the woods all the time. And so I had to learn how to hand paint really quick, I had to learn to make do, and I had to learn to not really travel with a lot. And, you know, it really helps, you know, I still don't travel with a lot. If I have a big job, you know, I'll do what I have to do, but for the most part, you know, I like to take what I need, leave the rest at home. So, that's about what I was going with that.
Pre-painting.
Huh?
Pre-painting.
Pre-painting, exactly. So, you don't have a lot of time, so you have to pre-paint. Which, you know, it's a good thing to learn. Again, with the glue though, while you bring it up, a little tip, when you're pre-painting, stay about a half inch before you blend line. Also with your alcohol, don't hit your edge with your alcohol palettes if it's not sealed, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that here in a minute too. But if you're doing pre-painting, because you'll go in with your prosthetic paint or your rubber match grease or whatever you're using as your base, and then, you know, generally going with the cream or your alcohol, whatever, but alcohol will destroy the edges if it's not properly sealed. So, sorry, right here, speaking of this, okay, so yeah, you definitely want to be careful. You can avoid using your alcohol paints until you're on set, you know, do it, but like, you know, just depending on the job, you know, every job's different, you know, and don't take what I say as gospel. A lot of what I learned was passed down to me by, you know, people that have been working in film and television for a long time, and, you know, I consider myself really lucky, you know, I got thrown in really early on, and I learned from a lot of good people really early on, which, you know, some that not everybody gets. In my first year, and I'll talk about this a little bit, you know, newer makeup artists and things like that. My first year, you know, I had a buddy, like I said, he did a little bit of haunt stuff. I don't work with him anymore. He's a nice guy, but he didn't really practice sanitation. Like, there was something always off about how it worked. You know, you don't go and buy your makeup brushes at Michael's and you know what I mean? And, you know, you want to invest money into your kit. You want to use decent products, and I'm not telling you to buy the most expensive of the expensive, but like Delium Tools, they make brushes specifically for effects makeup, great brushes for effects makeup. Your adhesives, you know, stuff you're using on actors, I don't buy those, you know, because, you know, what you do, I do it because, again, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with faces, you don't want your people breaking out, you don't want that reputation. And you just don't want to be that way. It's, you know, it's not a good way to be. So when I got started with him, you know, I learned a lot of really bad things early on. And so a lot of becoming, you know, when I say I want to become a better artist or learn things like this, a lot of that really came just from that a bad experience, because I'm guessing most of the people in here are probably on social media, Instagram. Do you guys all follow like makeup to a degree or haunts or anything like that? If not, I'm like whatever. But you'll see a lot of arguments. There are a lot of opinions that go around about what constitutes an artist. I'll go into that a little bit. A lot of what I've been seeing lately is working on black skin or darker skin or anything like that. Because you'll get people like, you know, like big makeups, and they'll get hired out and they don't know how to work on, you know, people of Asian descent or African American descent, you know, anything like that. They will, you know, they know Caucasians, they know colors, they know stuff like that. Another opinion, but I think an important one is learn color theory. You know, buy some books on color theory and, you know, practice your makeup on different skin tones. You know, and again, like I said, arguments online. A lot of people will get really angry. Well, you're not an artist if you don't know how to do black skin tones. I don't believe that. I believe if you read that and it applies to you, that you should go out and learn how to do some dark skin tones. But it's all about learning. I started off, you know, learning how to work, you know, basically, and I'll show you a little bit how to match Caucasian skin tones here in a minute, but that's how I learned. And you learn a little bit at a time. You learn what's, you know, available to you financially. You know, people get so loud, I guess would be a nice way to put it, about what they think is right. And what it comes down to is you have to do what's best for you as an artist. How far do you want to take it, kind of thing. Sorry, get this under the chin real quick. So, you know, and that's one I've been seeing a lot, and that's kind of why I bring it up, and it really just, it bugs me a little bit because, you know, newer people or people that haven't picked up, you're gonna read stuff like that, and, you know, it might cause them to give up before they ever get a chance to start, and, you know, over something that's really trivial. I mean, if you wanna do this and you wanna be successful and you wanna find work, you wanna know about, you know, as much about it as you can, obviously, but, you know, you also want to share the knowledge. You don't want to chastise people for what they don't know. You want to help them with what they don't know. A good example of this is like when I was learning to do, and I'm not like the end-all ethnic makeup artist, like far from it. I know a bit of beauty. I can get myself through, you know, whoever might come to my chair. But what I did, like, you know, okay, I don't really know ethnic skin color, so I went out and I looked up a bunch of different like ethnic artists or artists that work primarily, you know, with color models that I really liked, and I wrote a bunch of them, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to improve, and do you have any tips? What are some good products to use? And, you know, you'd be surprised. I don't know if this is just like specific to me, but I always, you know, it's kind of scared to reach out, you know, a lot of people make you feel stupid for asking something like that, but I've, you know, generally found that people won't, and I made a lot of good friends because of it, and if I'm in a situation to where I'm dealing with like a skin tone I'm not necessarily familiar with, I have, you know, a lifeline I can call, and it can be like, hey, and, you know, and it's great. The other advantage that has, you find some really cool artists out there, you know, doing that. One person I would recommend, Killer for Effects and Beauty. She was my makeup by myself, but she's a friend of mine from Denmark, and she's my go-to for black makeup. She's a sassy black lady, just beautiful, just beautiful, most beautiful makeup. And like, just wrote her one day, you know, I liked her work, you know, and she's pretty, you know, pretty big on Instagram, and she is the nicest, most humble person you could ever meet. Okay. Now, back to you. Here's where we come in with the eyes. Good thing to have. Little tweakers. Great thing to have. So, close your eyes for me. With this, not so much cutting, but because it will overlap his eye a little bit, I am just going to tear a tiny bit off, a little bit at a time. So it's still as close to his eye form as we can get it.
Now, are you pulling in strips or just individual notches?
Just little tiny chunks.
Okay.
Yeah. And latex does pull apart. I mean, once you get into the thicker stuff, you know, it's obviously gonna get a little harder. But when you're doing stuff like this, and also, like I said, we're not gonna blend out the edges too much right here because edges will not blend very easily into facial hair. We're gonna get them down as much as we can. That's why we're also gonna lay facial hair into it.
Now, are you gluing that to the lid or above that ridge right
A little bit above the ridge. That will give us enough room. Yeah, so we're gonna go a tiny bit above the ridge. So, yeah, you just go up and under, right in here. And with the eyes, you know, obviously you want to be really careful. A big hang up I had early on was doing makeup around the eyes because it terrified me. But if you really just pay attention, and again, all of this comes from a slow and steady wins the race mentality. You're going to be in situations, the more you do it, where you're going to have to go fast. 2 hours for, doing this, like, even though we're going to continue on, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch there, and so you really just gotta take your time and, coming back to working for other people, you really want to make sure that when you do get hired, not necessarily for haunts, but photo shoots, whatever else, the one thing that I would be demanding about it is the time that you have available, because, just the stuff doesn't lift itself up. And it comes back to the face-off stuff and teaching the classes, and this is really hard. Well, yeah, it is. It's work, it's mold making, it's heavy duty, like a lot of concrete work if you use ultra-cal. I mean, that shit gets heavy. But yeah, I don't know. It's not just slapping paint really, and it's kind of sad. I love face-off. I love the show. The one thing I didn't like about it was how little they didn't show, going into the background, because I watched a lot of Anchor Bay Blu-ray or DVDs when they came out. When Jonathan Dead was coming out when I was younger. I'm talking 12 or 13. So when I'm watching these, you see all the stuff. And if you've ever watched like the Rick Baker behind the scenes for Michael Jackson's Thriller, and I'm talking old school. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm an early 90s kid, so I grew up with a lot of that stuff. And so with Rick Baker and all those documentaries, it really showed how much detail went into all that. And then when Face Off came on, they kind of cut a lot of that out. And again, love the show, but I really wish they would have went more into it, because it's an impatient world we live in anymore, and I'm like, and I speak from personal experience on this, because when I first started doing it, I rushed everything, because I wanted to be better, I wanted to do it, and it just wasn't the right mentality to have, and it wasn't a good way to execute a decent makeup. And so, sit down and take a little bit of time. You have actors and friends and collaborators that know the process. It does make it a lot easier, and it really takes down a lot of the pressure. But there's certain things that you gotta give yourself, be selfish with, as far as, what's gonna help you to become better. And again, the eyes are difficult, so you want to go slow. And you also kind of want to let your adhesive dry a little bit more than you would with the outline. Like with the outline, I was going in gluing powder. With the eyes, you don't want a lot of powder in there, but you also want to get maximum stick. So when you're doing it, you just want to be really patient, really careful. And this is where it all brings us together. So you do, depending on the piece, like right here, this is stretching out a little bit far from space, so you really want to, just slowly apply your pressure. Make sure it's in there. And this little doozy, this is a good baby to have. This is a stomper brush. And great for ears and eyes. And it's just a powder absorbing brush. You could actually get the same result with like a decent, thick, I don't want to say eyeshadow brush, excuse me. But yeah, these things are great. But so you go in there and you just be really careful. Now the glue, you can turn it a little bit. It's not sticking around here. I didn't push it down, and the reason for that turned out towards me is because when you go in and you get that stomper, you want just, again, you don't want to be pushing and pulling and everything, but you want that strength there. And so that will take away your tack from your glue and get it pushed down within one fell swoop. And it also keeps a little smooth edges. You doing all right, Dan? Awesome.
Do you ever do work on yourself?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
absolutely.
more difficult? Do you find it more difficult?
Yeah, well, for me, yeah, because I can't see
Yeah.
anything without my glasses, and I'm not a big fan of contacts. I mean, I'll do the cosmetic, you know, when I'm playing a character, but yeah, I mean, actually, thank you for bringing that up. Practice on yourself.
Yeah.
Seriously, self-application, it's different to do than, you know, doing another person, and I think it helps you, like when you're, you know, working on other people, because yeah, for me at least, it's just, I mean, some people might get the hang of it a little bit better than I do, but I've always say, I mean, they come out okay, but yeah, but I notice after doing a self-application, like whether or not it makes me better, you know, doing it outside, I'm a lot more grateful than not for working on myself when I do actually, you know, get to a different model. I'm like, okay, this is a lot better. And so, for that respect, yeah, self-application will definitely make you appreciate having someone in front of you.
Yeah.
And I want to talk, and on self-application too. I actually did want to bring this up. The importance of a good model. Again, this is one of those things that's not necessarily applicable to like haunted houses and stuff, because you know you get like a lot of volunteers and you get a lot of people coming through your chairs, and a lot of you'll see on a regular basis, you know, people who work for haunts and things like that. But when you're doing the big makeups like these, or you're on set for a long time with somebody and you're doing makeup with them day after day after day, it's taxing for both the actor and the artist alike. And so picking a model early on, I'm guessing if you probably do makeup, maybe not, but you'll have friends and family, little sister, brother, whatever. Oh no, it looks so fun. Please do that on me. And you know, yeah, great, do it. I did that with a lot of my friends that weren't film, television friends. You know, when I really first started out. And it was fun. It's great to have people. The one thing about that is they're not actors, and so people spend all this time, you know, or models or whatever, you know, doing these great makeups, and then they're just like, eh, and that's all you get out of it. You know, they don't know how to emote to makeup, and so when I was actually able to, you know, make friends with a few actors, I had some select people that I really like to use. I think I used like 3 different people for a majority of my makeups, the ones that I paid for or what have you. This is the most expensive one that I've done with David. I'll talk a little bit about that. So yeah, you know, if you get into that industry, like your contactors or, you know, just find an actor that you get along with, that you like their style, and that can handle makeup. And use them, and I mean this for building a portfolio, you know, because I have portfolio pictures where it's friends of mine, you know, that are just making stupid faces, and it's fun, you know, but it's not going to help your career. So, with the importance of the model, Dan was not my original choice, I hate to say. I have a friend of mine named Neil. I met him. He volunteered for the makeup school where I was teaching at, and we hit it off really well. And he's, you know, 6'2", 6'3", lean build, long face, a really good person, you know, for like sort of, you know, every general makeup, you know, he can pull off whatever. And so we had been planning on doing this, and he had a commercial come up, and you know, you don't hold your actors back either. You know, you do what's best for your career, they do what's best for theirs, blah blah blah. And so I'm thinking, you know, who would be a good replacement? Well, Dan, I've known over 2 years now, since David Addison. Yeah, we met on set. Now it's funny about Dan, because Dan, he's a big guy. nicest guy in the world. But when we were working on nicest guy. when we were working on Losing Addison together, he was playing this crappy ass bailiff, and it was my first big movie. And so, he was a staying character, and there's this giant Hulk of a man, and I don't think I really talked to you much at all on set. And it was just because, like, there's a big dude that looks grumpy as shit all the time. And then we met up, I don't remember what it was after that, but just the nicest guy. And, the more, like, we got to know each other, like, he's worked with some great makeup artists, he's been on a lot of great shows, he was on Grimm, Z Nation, pretty much any movie that comes through here. He's, if any of you are local to Washington, there's, we still hear that way, thank you. There's kind of a local fan project with some decent backing, a Jason, Friday the 13th project where he's playing Jason and stuff like that. And so what we're doing today is, kind of a Viking sort of character. And so when Neil bowed out, it's sort of a blessing in disguise, because I'm like, I have this guy who's a great actor and just a Hulk of a man. So, and he agreed to do it. And, you want to have those kind of people. I don't want to say in your back pocket, because that would imply using it. You want to have those people on your side, because Dan also knows that, if he needs something specific and maybe the budget isn't there, and I would never recommend working for cheap, but you stay loyal to your friends, you stay loyal to those that help you, because they're how you get ahead, you have to have a hard work ethic, but you also have to have a really good attitude, and you have to love the guys, you have to love the girls, and I think, like, the more I do a lot of extras work, and that rule sort of goes out the window. But your actor is just as important as the artist, and this kind of comes back to what I was talking to earlier about attitude within the industry, and again, it's not about you, but an artist is only as good as their model. The model is only as good as their artist. It's a married relationship. And so, and again, I personally was taught early on that that's something that kind of escapes newer artists. It's something that, I was told that, lift that for me, that kind of escapes newer artists in terms of, it's not as collaborative as it once was.
Hey, Dad.
Yes.
You want these flyers up there?
Up there's fine. Yeah, I mean, on a chair. Yeah. What would you guys like? Wherever. Yeah, right there. Perfect.
Flyers.
I am bad at making decisions. Alright. So yeah, I mean, a lot of what I really wanted to talk about in this class was, the importance of relationships, I guess, because that was a lot of the best advice that really helped me, and I really think it's a lot of what has got me, as much fun work as I've had. I always like to branch out, but it's never, I've never considered it to be about myself. I love helping other people. I love scraping buckets because of what you might learn for the person not scraping the bucket next to you, opportunity really is key. A good attitude is key. And talent is key. Like I said, you don't have to have a lot of talent, but what you don't know, you're going to learn. Because people just kind of get stuck in, one way or the other, and it's really unfortunate that happens. Like me though, I kind of am pigeonholed as a prosthetic artist, for instance, and I love prosthetics. It is definitely my preferred method, but I love fantasy, I love beauty. I do my wife's makeup all the damn time, but I did kind of pigeonhole myself as a prosthetics artist because, it's where I learned, it's where my strengths were, and it's where I got hired out most, so you kind of, you roll with it, I mean, don't deny yourself work because, you might want to do something else, but, It's very different and it's very personal for everybody. I've come to learn a lot of people do it just for different reasons. Some like it as a hobby on the weekend. For me, it was really just the stress relief. You know, we live in a crazy world right now. Some people like to drink. Some people work out. I like to do makeup. I like to sculpt. You know. And so, you know, that's, for me, that's where it comes from. It was always something, it was an escape, it was a nice escape, that turned into something. And that's really how you kind of have to treat it, you know, if you don't make it, you're not for me. If you don't make it, you know, don't be sad, have a backup career sort of deal. I have made it, I work at Safeway. You know, I'm on my way. But you know, again, it's for the love of it. And that's why I really like this convention, too. I got a lot of my early makeups at this convention. When I was getting started, this is really one of the places that I came to, you know, get ideas. My friends Christina and Claire, who teach here, I think we're teaching here today. You know, I met here, and it was by going up and introducing myself and asking questions, and they both hired me out for some of my best at doing the job. You know, it's just, you really just got to stay diligent with it all, you know. So, now the facial hair is coming. No, so. We're going to get to the painting because I feel like I've done enough rambling and you guys are probably sick of watching me glue. So.
With facial hair, do you try and avoid using as much glue in those areas on the prosthetic? Or do you
Not really. I mean, with facial hair, it's so coarse that you're not going to get it pushed down anyway. I'm actually trying to use more glue around that because right in here, up into here, it's not going to go down. Probably no matter what I do. And again, this is like what I was saying with like ball caps and vinyl. Like, if I really would have had the time, you just lay a vinyl strip around the sideburn and down and everything. And then you would apply it over that like you would a ball cap. And again, it wouldn't be a flawless execution by any means, but you know, it's a decent piece. But yeah, just for right here, we're just gonna start going in. Probably won't even. Yeah. I might process it a little bit.
Yeah, if we were on the show and I was hired to do the work, contracted to be the model.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they do. For in shape to get the job. So if that's the gig I'm doing for a couple of weeks or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm in shape. Cut my hair a certain way.
But again, like, you know, with Dan saving my butt at the last minute, you know, he has a show he's about to do, and he needs the facial hair, so, you know, he was asked if that was a problem. And again, makeup and models is American. He's doing me a huge favor by giving up his day, like, you know, having a model bow out on something like this is not ideal by any means. Exactly.
Shave the night before, not the morning.
Yeah. Boy, a lot of skin irritation.
And moisturize.
Always moisturize. Get a decent remover. I like Telus' Super Sol. Telus' Super Sol Plus for glue removal. It's loaded with aloe, different skin vitamins, and just removes it like a beast. Okay.
Now you brought up moisturizer.
Well-
Dan, as a model, is there something you prefer that's maybe oil or non-oil based because they do so much prosthetics or latex on you?
Yeah, there's one, do they still make it? There's one that Christina gets online that's really good, but it's really expensive, but it's.
Because I can see where some of them, nothing would adhere if you still had it on your face, I think, because some of them are oil based.
Well, so it'd be like an application after So when we do a cleanup, we'll probably have, what will you have to put on the face for when you clean it?
I have, it's made by Noriko, they're sold through Namies, but it's defying noise. And this was, so again, my guy Tom, he turned me on to it. It's a good stuff, it's citrusy, basically, that's not hard.
But I'd leave that on like for the rest of the night and do whatever, like wash my face nice and moisturize before I go to bed. So if I'm on set the next day and I wake up, I'll just wash my face again with just regular soap and water and dry it and just leave it alone.
Okay.
No hair product, no, no moisturizer, no, don't exfoliate your face the night before bed is done. Because your skin will get extremely sensitive.
Yeah.
And usually on set, they'll usually have me do 2 to 3 days on with a day off, and then another 2 to 3 days on with a day
Let the
off.
skin rest a little.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It does get fun, but we're, a full week to 2 weeks, and it's, 90 degrees out. It's,
I can imagine.
but it is fun, but it is a trade-off, and it is work. It's not, because I'll run into people like, dude, I want to do that. Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
You want to hurry up and wait, I would imagine.
But it is fun, and I do enjoy it. The end product is the really cool thing when it's done, or the movie or the show is done. It displays, the artist's work, or Zach or whoever's doing the work to the costume design and everything. You get a satisfaction of, you get to put on all this stuff,
Being part of that.
breathe that life and inject that soul into the character,
Very
and
noble.
bring their life to work. And if you can do it to where they're satisfied and everything, then we all win. It's a team. It's a team effort.
It really is, and that's, yeah, it's, I don't know, I like working on a team, and I'm sure Dan can tell you, because he's worked with a lot of artists and stuff, but, there's some that just don't have that mentality and stuff like that, and I never understood it myself.
I treat it as a privilege,
Yeah.
and an honor in a way. Become somebody's living canvas in a way.
It is too, I myself like being under the brush a lot too. It doesn't happen a lot for me. I was joking with Dan, I'm that 5'6" average build guy. I'm not going to be getting a lot of character work, But early on, I was doing a lot of modeling, which is how I got into this. So real quick, we're just getting this down around his eyes. But what I did with the top of the head, just a prosthetic layer, just to add a little bit of texture and hide the edges, blend down a little bit.
We have to go meet the other students, so.
No, you're
Thank
good,
you
I
very much.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, I want to start cleaning up my left arm.
That layer of prosthetic, were you using that to blend edges?
Yeah, I was gonna let that sit for a second while I get this down.
And then random question, what do you use to clean your brushes from all this gunk?
So with the glue, no, actually it's the same for everything really. So with the glue brushes, I strictly just use alcohol and
Like a 99?
yeah, 99, wash, rinse, repeat. And then that's about all I can do for the glue brushes. With the regular brushes, when I'm using alcohol palettes, same deal. I do the 99, and then I just run it through. Partisan or Persian spirit, whatever it is. I do a wash after the fact with that to kind of give it a nice smell and to bring that softness back a little bit. But yeah, alcohol is your best friend in all this. I have a couple gallons of it in the closet. But yeah, the cleaning, definitely the worst part. one thing I would recommend, get your glue brushes into alcohol as quickly after the fact as you can, and then same with your prosthetic paint brushes, because the longer they sit out, it's just gonna, sorry, Dan. You are a little sticky. Sorry guys, this is the crucial part. Open that. Can you open that? Yeah. Right there.
Now, what do you do, because I've seen pieces like this, but where it comes, the eyes are already semi-closed, but would you split those open with some scissors and just cut a little bit off? So you have some breathing room?
Yeah, I would do whatever was most comfortable for you and then set the pickup up, you know, how it's supposed to look, but yeah, I would definitely, trim it to specs, or at least tear it. Cause I know, yeah, like the swollen zombie ones, or,
Right.
yeah.
What does the normal starter kit cost?
Oh, gosh. They, yeah,
Come
that's actually a good question. Like one of my first starter kits, they don't really make them, but there's like a Maron effects kit. It comes with like scar wax, a little bit of gray hair, a couple like prosthetics. It's actually a pretty fun little kit.
Enough stuff to play with.
Yeah, exactly. But it was like $120, and I'm like, ugh. Look back on it now, and I want more to spend that on.
Let's see, it's almost best to buy it piece by piece.
You did, well, it's really specific too. Like I was saying, you know, with products, I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of different things about, you have to buy them, you know, and definitely buy good stuff. I'm really a big fan of Urban Decay. I like, my favorite complexion palette is what Kevin Bennett James now, you know, but I also use a lot of NYX. I freaking love NYX. It makes a good product. You know, so it really is just, you know, but I'm going back and forth between two. Well, I use a lot of beauty makeup in my effects stuff too, like eyeshadows are great. Yeah, it really is just, it's specific to what you're doing. I mean, definitely try and have a little bit of everything, but, you know, I definitely have stuff that's geared more towards prosthetics. You know, my beauty kit is basically just one of those. It's for my effects kit, you know, to take up the back of my car, and yeah, just it really depends. I definitely like to have more, but it's also kind of one of those things. If you know what you have and you're good with what you have, you don't need a whole lot. You know, it just, some people again will want to like have the biggest and best, and you know, you want that to a degree, but they'll also do it for no reason, you know. And it's just like, you know, I am very, very much about practicality and, you know, staying within what you need. You know, I usually use, like, if I want something new and I want something fun, I'll find a reason to do that makeup. Like, I'm like, okay, I need a bunch of fluorescent paint, but do I? Well, yes. You know, and so I'll find ways to talk myself into shit like that I don't need, which, you know, is the way to do it. So anyway, we are on to the fun part now. So we did get a lot of the tack down. There are a few hard edges here, and like, you know, around the mouth, it's just, yeah. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So we will start with paint. When we Yeah, it is very. We're gonna do it. All right. Okay. So, back to.
Now,
So-
if you were doing this for a stage or for a film production,
Yeah.
how long would this application last under the lights and the heat and the mobility before you have to go in and start doing touch-ups?
Touch-ups are constant, usually with something like this. But as far as like its longevity staying on, it would be on there for hours. Pretty much until I want it off. Some edges would come up here and there, and usually you get about an hour before the edges start coming up. But really, it's definitely you need someone on set at all times, for the process. And I forgot my spray bottle on the showroom floor. Well, that is okay. All right. Don't do this. Do a spray bottle. Don't be like that. So prosthetic paints, or packs, or whatever. For foam latex, you use these. You can also use rubber mask grease. That won't get into rubber mask is more of an oil-based. Again, generally what you would use for fast haunted house applications, just where this is adhesive-based, and just sort of, I don't know, I like it better because it will stick and it sort of gives them a second skin, but it comes very thick and very concentrated, so water it down when you go in. So the color I'm going in here is called CTV or CCTV. And it's just a general red color, sort of tan red, and it mimics the undertone. And now, like I said earlier, when you're doing Caucasian skin tones, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about that. This is generally for your standard white person. This is the undertone that you would use, is your CCTV undertone. Really get it on there. And now with the adhesive base on here, the reason that you want it on, like I said, your alcohol pellets will destroy this and break it down. So the adhesive base really just adds a layer of protection for that, add a layer of protection. And, sorry, brain fart.
So if you use like a packed paint as your base, you can freely go over it with.
Yeah, like with rubber mask grease, when that was made, that was what they used early on, like for Planet of the Apes and, Frankenstein, stuff like that. And you have to use a lot of sealer, castor oil and things like that, but, with this, it just goes on real easy. It's a lot better, in my opinion. It's definitely not as cost effective. Rubber mask grease is more cost effective, but you're going to be spending a lot more in sealers because you have to seal every single, with
Have
this.
you ever tried to make your own?
Packs or rubber masks? No. I have no reason to. Like I said, a lot of what I was talking, like staying loyal to the people. Tom, guy who trained me, he makes it. I buy it from him. No reason to. I get a good deal on it. Either. So, maybe someday. I don't know. But like a lot of people I know are. Sorry, I'm sorry. But I really have no desire to. I know a lot of people are going around and doing things with acrylic and things like. Am I right? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
I hear a lot of people talking about it, and that's why I was curious.
And that's where, again with Tom or with Mel Products, they make a really good packs. It's been made by industry experts, you know, that have been doing it a long, long, long time. And I trust that over Tom, Dick, and Joe with a bottle of acrylic paint and whatever it is that, you know, I mean, some people might make a good product, you know, like making your own scar wax, you know, sure, why not? I'm not a big fan of scar wax myself, but with something like that, you know, it's gonna, again, be going into your actor's skin, because it doesn't stay, you know, specifically on the prosthetic, you know, we're going around into his ears and, you know, onto his skin with it, and it just, you gotta be careful, you know, so, I am a really, really big fan of safety as far as all that, and some people just really play it fast and loose. It sucks, it's unfortunate, you know. Not gonna be too hard on myself, because yeah, ideally with something like this, you know, like I was talking with the shaving and everything like that, I would also wanna give myself probably about a good 5 hours, 6 hours maybe to fully like do it. Because with this big prosthetic, and there's a lot of detail involved. But, so, you know, don't be too hard on yourself if you're going fast. I get myself into a lot of situations where just, I never have enough time. And actually I also do that to myself a lot, you know, for makeup demonstrations, I'll, you know, try and get a shorter time on purpose, just, you know, try and make myself a little faster. That's a good thing, you know, I mean, don't be too hard on yourself with the finished product, but seriously, set some time limits for yourself. Try to get a ball cap done like within half an hour. This will improve you substantially. It sucks, but I don't know, I did a lot of stuff like that because, like I said, when I started out, I really got thrown into like, you know, teaching was one of the greats, and you know what the hell I was doing. So yeah, in the months in between, I would spend a lot of time just doing the most ridiculous crap to try and get better for the next class, and I think that's how it should be. Careful around the eyes, you do not want to close shut.
Should something like that happen on accident, you've got the eyelid partially glued shut.
Yeah.
You can't really use anything to make it not sticky, you just pull it off the front.
Well, I mean, you can, yeah. Well, whatever you're using, like for your adhesive, like I said, you have the thinner with it, which, you know, will take the tap away, and then you spread the eyelid open apart and reapply your talc. Excuse me, that was actually a fairly easy correct. The one that I really just don't like is lips. So like once the lips get damaged, there's not a lot of coming back from that. But yeah, eyelids aren't too bad, and there's a lot you can do with the eyelid too, as far as hiding it, because there is so many folds in an eyelid. It's definitely a good point to like, you know, focus your edges if you're making them, or like you said, if you mess up and you have to redo an edge, that would be an ideal place to do it, honestly, at least for me. Because yeah, at least there is a little bit out there. Get the details real quick. Or at least And then you're, the pre-paint stuff, talking about it, last night I actually probably should have done this, I really wanted to pre-paint these horns. That's another thing I'll do, like, with something that's a real specific feature, like that, you know, I'll add a lot of detail into it by the time everything's said and done. Yeah, I should have probably just done it last night, just didn't really think about it, but that's something I'll also do for like quick applications, like if you have a horned character or something like that, you know, there's, you know, a lot of striations, a lot of stuff you can do with that, and so those to me are always really fun to pre-paint, you know, like ahead of time. Okay. 2 hours, we are not doing too bad. Alright. Alright.
45 minutes, so it's time to.
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys to death. I think I bored everybody else out of here, but that's okay. I appreciate the ones of you that stick around. Alright. So, with Dan here, I'm going to do a little bit of mixture of just your standard olive, and it should be, and again, like, just your real standard Caucasian skin tone kind of thing. When you're going into, sorry.
My purpose.
Oh, it's okay. I burped too. But like, when you start going into like darker skin tone, like if I was also, I would use the same base if I was, you know, someone Latino or Asian. But the darker you go, oddly enough, I was finding out that you would do more yellows, more purple undertones, things like that. And it just like really worked it like you ever like a real newbie like dark black, you know, skin tone. Like a lot of what goes into that is a lot of like more lows and purples, and then you have your, and, you know, it's just, you know, really fascinating how just, you know, skin texture works. And I find myself like staring at people, you know, maybe like in a creepier way than I should. Like
Trying to mix colors in your mind.
well, mixed color, just, you know, it brings the face together. You know, if someone has an interesting birthmark or a mole, it's like, you know, I'm not staring, you know, to be insultive, and I generally like try not to. But a good example, yesterday I was, you know, down in Matt's wheelchair hanging out with them, and Scotty, the guy that's down there, we hadn't met in person before yesterday. You know, knew each other by association. I know his wife, and the first thing I did is I'll probably do a vampire on him tomorrow, but it has you need a specific kind of nose, like, you know, and so I just sit there staring at his nose and like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, sorry, and then kind of explain myself really quick, you know, nice to meet you, great nose. And I don't know, yeah, I find myself doing that a lot. Try not to be weird about it, but again, like, I don't know, when I fell into this, wouldn't say I consider myself non-artistic or anything like that, but, you know, I just didn't really look at things in an artistic manner. And then, you know, the more you do it, I mean, the more you just start seeing the colors, everything, just, yeah, whether you want it or not, you know, and it's just, it's fun. I really enjoy color theory a lot. I really do enjoy it. I think it's a good knowledge to have just in general. Even if you aren't doing all this, because, yeah, I don't know, but I did like, you know, I enjoy coloring, drawing, and painting for the most part as a kid, so that part was always like, you know, pretty decent. So anyway, back to this. So with the top layer, I'm just doing kind of a quick stipple technique. You don't want it like, your undertone, you know, kind of keep it stippled a little bit, but you have a little bit more forgiveness for that first red tone as far as like, you know, just being able to go quick. But with this, you want it really kind of irregular in there, and especially like because be a little redder because he is gonna have, some sun damaged skin. And he's gonna look pretty tattered up, I think, if we're gonna go with that, but. So like, from the back here, yeah, you can sort of see how it's all bringing it together, you know, you kind of look at his ear versus, you know, what's going in, and then, so, that's really what you want, I mean, pretty easy, as far as like base coats, again, every makeup is very different, this is very just kind of standard fare, that's the way I learned how to paint. Actually, any other skin tone, I pretty much work on that. I learned how to do Caucasian and just kind of went from there. But yeah, I really like organic makeups and by that I mean stuff like this. I like doing slit throats, like not necessarily because of the gore factor, but I love seeing how well I can match up at the neck, because the neck is one of those things that's also, I don't know, to me, it's sort of a personal thing, kind of weird. Everyone's neck is sort of unique in its own way, like some have, you know, blotchy, you know, line, a lot of wrinkles, you know, and just to be able to mimic those, like, is really fun, for me at least. And so, yeah, I don't know, slit throats are probably one of my favorite things to do for that reason, because, you know, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of reds, and especially if you're doing a man, recreating a 5 o'clock shadow is always really fun. Fun fact with recreating 5 o'clock shadow, oddly enough, you wouldn't use a lot of black, you would use more vein tone. Like, if you guys like have any alcohol palettes, Illustrator or whatever, the vein tone that comes with Illustrator.
Kind of like that blue shade.
Yeah, it works great for 5 o'clock shadow, sprinkling a little bit of brown or blonde or whatever, but yeah, it's just weirdest damn thing. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite things.
With the brightness of the foam prosthetic, I know you went in with that neutralizing kind of sunburnt.
Yeah.
And sometimes that edge will still show the difference in the light
Mhm.
foam prosthetic versus the normal skin.
Yeah.
Is there something you do prefer to do to kind of blend that better?
Really it kind of comes in with the paint job, and, talk a little bit about that here. The answer is yes, because I know what you mean, and especially like when you're doing a ball cap, you know, with a piece as well, there's going to be a difference because the ball cap is smooth, the texture comes in with the base, so, you know, as far as like, texture-wise, like I was saying with the Prosthetic, you know, you go over, kind of stipple it out, you know, for the sake of time, you know, we're going quick on a lot of stuff here. With that, you know, it's really just a lot in how you're gonna paint it, more than anything. Like, with the eyes here, because we're not insanely, like, blended out, what I'll do is I'm gonna take some reds, and I'll hit it from the bottom of this lid and kind of bring it down. What you really wanna do is don't follow your edge, do something opposite with it. Yeah, depending on the character, really. You know, if it was like a facial thing, like if we're talking bald cap to forehead, you know, be a good place to put the hairline or like some freckles, something like that. But yeah, you really just, and one thing, this made me happy, a fun little story like with that, because you know, when you see it up close, there's a lot you can do, and I don't mean like Photoshop or anything like that, but different lighting, different camera tricks, things like that. Thank you. That will, you know, bring it all together and stuff like that. But you know, even working with Thomas and like seeing like the work, you know, there's always going to be something there, no matter how good you are. You know, you'll able to see something, you know what I mean? And so you will get the favor of a lot of camera tricks for that reason, you know, but you definitely want to have it in your back pocket that, you know, if you were asking, you know, something that, you know, you can do to avoid all that stuff. But like, I had a good example recently. I did a blue witch, that's on that one liner, or that one sheet thing. The actual witch makeup, I wasn't entirely happy with. You know, it was rushed. I think I did it in about 4 or 5 hours. Her eyes were glued shut. She was getting claustrophobic. Like, not my best experience. I mean, they weren't literally glued shut, but the prosthetic she couldn't see out of. You know, it wasn't the greatest paint job. There was some blended, and I'm just like, with it. But then we got it upstairs. It was filmed under a blue light. The director was like, you know, it's good. You know, I'm like, right? He's like, let's bring it. You know, we got it upstairs. We got it under this blue light, and that's how it looked. And you know, once I was really happy with that. You know, and so it really depends. I mean, definitely don't ever rely on that. In terms of, you know, a camera to save your ass, because it probably won't happen. But you know, like Dan was saying, it's a lot of, you know, especially when you get into film, television, things like that. There's a lot of merriment, and as long as you have a lot of people that are, you know, willing to help and just are collaborative, you know, and it's not, you know, you might not find it all the time, but you know, you can go to those people. Like there's certain directors that I'll work with for a lot cheaper than I work, because I can go in there and like I like what they do, they like what I do, and I can talk to them, and you know, and we can come up with something together, which is something. When you get onto the bigger budget movies, you're a hired hand. The director really doesn't care about like what your great idea is or anything like that, and it just, you know, so you really got to find those people that you can like kind of do that with, and that for me would be the best way to kind of hone your skills in that area. You know, it just. Yeah, it really it's such a fickle industry, and I myself personally, I like what I do with it. I always sort of wonder, like, do I want to make a career out of this? You know, because I really am a collaborative person and kind of like to do what I do for myself. You know, if I get some cool opportunities, cool jobs out of it, you know, yeah, I'll take it. But you know, I really just have a hard time with the side of it, you know what I mean? It makes it hard, you know, especially like because as artists, we, you know, we feel very personal about what we do, even if it is for like a medium like that. Oh, do you know? Yeah, no, but you're good. All right.
Communication.
Key. And we'll be right back. So yeah, any questions at all? I'm happy to answer. Who's quiet? I say, I haven't heard from you or you, and the room's thinned out, so I know who's talking and who's not.
Do you find, we're from Washington High, and most of them, they're more than willing, what can I learn from you, what can you teach me, kind of like this convention.
Yeah.
But there are some of them that know what I do is proprietary. Do you run into that in the makeup industry, or no, I don't want to share my information with you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And again, I'm not really sure, like, I worked at two haunts, like, for very limited time on both. Like, I got thrown into the film and television world, so, like, this year I actually want to go work at a haunt, you know.
Skip that step.
Yeah, you know, and I love haunted houses, but yeah, no, you know, it might be a little bit different in that medium, but I know that a lot of haunt makeups and a lot of the makeups I, you know, are like techniques, it's all kind of one and the same, you know, it's all just, you know, what's behind the curtain, you know, and so I never understood that attitude myself. I think it's a bad attitude to have, and I really don't like to work with it. You know, if I have the option, and I've ran into it a couple of times, and I generally will not work with those people again, because, and it's not that I don't know, feel that everyone's gonna be how they're gonna be kind of thing, you know, it just, but I always, for me, makeup was about hanging out, making cool stuff, having a good time and sharing information, you know, I'm very much the Dick Smith, you guys know who Dick Smith is, you know, I mean, a lot of before him, you know, was like, well, Hollywood is secret, you know, and
It's moving.
yeah, it's movie man, and you know, so like if I know it, I will tell you how to do it. If I don't know it, I will point you in the direction of someone who can, you know, and I don't know, I not just in makeup, but I'm a big fan of knowledge in general, and so I really think that, like you were saying, I think those people probably, you know, probably not very happy. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I found that some of them, we're a nonprofit,
Yeah.
completely volunteer, and I found some of them that have that attitude are the ones that are in it. It's their job.
Yeah.
They own the haunt. It's a money-making endeavor.
Mhm.
Where the rest of us, it's like the better your show is, the better that makes my show.
Exactly.
Because we want to learn and experience, and we want people to go to our show and then, oh wow, we're gonna go to this show next, or we're gonna go to this show.
Yeah.
And to see different art forms and different techniques.
Yeah, so you say you got Washington, is that in Washington?
Yeah, we're up in the Sammamish Plateau.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm from here, I'm just a little over Vancouver, so, yeah.
Yeah, we've got 18 chairs, and I run up to 100 actors a night, so they've got 12 minutes to do, 12-minute average to do every makeup.
See, that's impressive, and that's sort of why I want to work at a haunt, because a lot of mine, like, I've had the luxury of, well, being able to go slow to a degree, but yeah, my fast
Right.
makeup's, Dave, Brighttown, the last year he was doing it, you know, it was around the time I was starting to get good enough at all this, you know, and he's like, hey, you know, do you wanna come help out and blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, sure, you know, and I went there, and so I get into it, I start doing, you know, but he's like, can you go faster? I'm like, well, I mean, sure, yeah, and then we got to talking, I'm like, I haven't done haunts, dude, he's like, how do you get in the film? I don't know.
Yeah, our roamers, they can probably average about 45 minutes, because they don't go out till an hour after the rest of the actors.
Oh, okay.
But even with them, you know, 45 minutes, I think is really quick
Yeah.
compared to something like this. And even here, we learned last year, we've done some stuff with gelatin, you know, on the Drippy Witches, but we learned a lot more about gelatin last year and did a lot of it in our show this year, which really sped up because you don't have an actor with a hairdryer trying to dry latex and
Exactly.
Kleenex.
Yeah,
And
latex.
that was a lot of fun using the different gelatins this year.
Yeah, I enjoy gelatin. I hate the smell, but I enjoy the result. But yeah, no, that's I mean, it works great. And I felt kind of bad like doing a film like that. I'm like, this really isn't applicable to haunts in the least, but it's fun. And I love a lot of the haunt makeups. I mean, when I was, you know, doing the work for Dave a little bit, you know, I taught me a lot about prop making, and I'm not like a great, you know, prop maker, you know, I just haven't had a lot of opportunities. So, you know, I mean, I don't know, I think there's something to be learned in every sort of creative industry that way. I don't know. For me, like, it's all still really fascinating, and I imagine it always will be, but yeah, I'm sure, you know, people get burned out or whatever, but yeah, the whole thing, last 5 years has really been a blast, you know.
Well, as long as I think we enjoy what we do.
Yeah, I never want to stop enjoying what I do. Then I'll be done. And so now we're just going in with alcohol colors, you know. From here on out, it's going to be pretty simple, just a lot of detailing more than anything. But so, when we come to the end here, that is your basic foam latex, you know, prosthetic application. And you know, like I said, there's going to be some hard edges and some edges that didn't stick at all because of what we're working with. But yeah, Yeah, definitely encourage you guys to give it a shot. Or silicone. Silicone's expensive, but oh man, it's so much easier for it to blend off and goes a lot faster. I think next year I might do silicone just because it's a lot easier. But yeah, and so going in with the painting and stuff, even though we already hit them with the the two basic colors, I like to go on with just another skin tone, bring it down. I'm just using a rice paper and natural right now. Yeah, pretty like that. So, nah, I'm just saying, not that tan right now, not yet at least. But yeah, and then, so with that, I'll just kind of bring it out into the ears as well.
So when your color application, because I've dealt with lights and cameras, depending on, say, a shoot where the director or the DP is interested in like bringing, how it's going to look on camera is going to be different from the naked eye. So how do you adjust and talk to, say, the director of photography?
Let's see, a good example of that was recently Gateway. I was doing something where we had to make a guy really sick, and then he grew pustules that started exploding because he ate a shrimp. It was really bizarre. One of the weirder things I worked on, but that it kind of happened like where I peeled him out of the light they were using, like basically flushed him to the point of looking like Pete Herman, just really caked and everything. So what we did was we actually just kept a normal skin tone, with the lights being so bright, we kept the skin tone normal and just sprinkled. Took the spatter brush and just did a spatter, sort of in a pale kind of thing, and then darkened him up. So like when he was on camera, he looked really pale with the spatter, just with the way the lights were, because it was like sort of lit with an overhead light, one of those old school like hanging lamps. So yeah, we kept it dark and just went in like where he needed to look sick with the colors, with the original like makeup itself. He ended up looking really ghostly pale, and so that's how we adjusted it. Was like if this, we're going to be doing it for a sunshine kind of light, soft light's going to do it like with a lot of reds, a lot of moles. He's going to get a black eye because he's going to be like a warrior kind of thing, and so yeah. Answer your question?
Well, the reason why I asked is I did a Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial where I was a very tan person, and the makeup department had gotten a spray tan that they would do for like a normal spray tan that people would get. Well, when it comes time to in front of the camera and the lights and the green screen, it didn't look what they wanted. So they basically painted me orange. Like an Oompa Loompa. They said, paint him like an Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka. It was a very bright orange. So look at the lights and everything, and then once the final put, then you look like a person that's overly tan.
Okay.
George Hamilton.
You did, exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth. Yes, a very blown out George Hamilton as far as like the color, So, but originally they, like I said, they had the idea of a spray tan, and then when it comes to it, it's like, ooh, that's not the, because production says, hey, we want this guy to be tan. Okay, he's tan.
Right.
Well, that tan's not coming,
Well, I suppose if there's any kind of green undertones in the spray tan on a green screen,
Oh,
that
it's
would just
gonna
look
show up
really
bad.
bad under the once it's filled.
Yeah.
And wash it out, I would think.
Are you going to be finishing this makeup up on the floor?
I'll be down, over at Magic Wheelchairs, booth right next to the Sam Winston School, finishing now. And we're getting there. Yeah, I'm trying to have it done by about maybe 3, or 4 for about an hour. Yeah, from here on out, it's actually gonna be fairly easy, once we get it back down there, lay some mutton chops around the hard edges and lay a goatee, and then we'll start painting up on it. We may 60 years, maybe.
Here's
Here's the one I did buy after that. But yeah, we'll be finishing up down there, so yeah, if you guys wanna come hang out and watch. We got a big old fun Viking uniform for him too, the giant sword, so yeah, no, it'll be good. Yeah, I'm really glad they let me help out this year, cause I sort of bit off more than, well, I could chew. It was like, yeah, like, do this really great makeup, and I like to go big or go home anyway, so it probably wouldn't have really made a difference one way or the other, but still. Again, it was a good reason, it was a good reason to challenge myself, you know, and teach you guys and try and get sped up in the process. I definitely am not a multitasker in terms of, you know, talking and doing stuff like that. You know, I'm not bad or anything like that, but I definitely, you know, when my model's in the chair, you know, I tell them to pop in the earbuds, and then I just kind of go to town, you know, and not that I don't want to be conversational, because I like to be, but yeah, you know, that for me is just a little bit
You
easier.
get in a zone, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I feel kind of bad for, like, yeah, I'm, you know, kind of zoning out here. I'm like, okay, and, oh wait, there's a lot of people behind me, so, but yeah, really fun, and, I appreciate you guys that, you know, stuck, I appreciate everyone that came, but I appreciate the ones that stuck around for the whole thing. It's been about a year since I've taught anything, so this is really fun, and definitely fun as far as the convention goes. I like this convention a lot, so. I'm glad I got
It's a lot more comfortable.
What was that?
It's a lot more comfortable than others. We do Crypticon up in
Yeah.
Seattle. We do the security and everything for it. And no matter what, the celebrities are there. Crypticon's all about the parties.
Yeah.
And here it's all about the education. Even though, you know, we do party on 13, it's a more
Well, yeah.
relaxed and comfortable situation. And you know everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna go this year because I had 2 films that were playing in the fest up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shit, mate, it's pressing out. But yeah, I haven't been to a Crypticon yet, but like the last 2 years, we had, or at least I had films playing up there, or that I worked on and stuff, so I really want to go. Yeah.
It's definitely a fun environment,
Yeah.
but it's a different environment than something like this.
Well, and that's good because I like, you know, not really a big partier, like,
Yeah.
I did a lot of that in my teens and my early 20s and stuff, so I don't really drink anymore or anything like that, you know, maybe once or twice a year if I'm lucky, but, so I don't know how well I would fit into Crypticon, because I go to the convention and I go to my hotel and it's like, after this, like, I, you know, come hang out a little bit up there, but then it's like, I just look across the bridge, it's 6 o'clock, you know, at bedtime, 3 hours, you know. If I
There's
can,
plenty of classes and meet and greets and that type of thing as well.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I will see you around.
I will see you around.
Okay.
Now, when you're doing a 4 or 5 hour application,
Yeah.
how do you feed them?
Oh, if they're hungry, I'll let them eat. You know, we generally, you know, I recommend that they eat beforehand.
Right.
You know, but again, it sort of comes like, you know, you'll have an actor that'll tough it out, but I'm never gonna deprive my actor. Now, if it's something like your mouth is gonna be glued shut, like, you better.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah, that way, yeah.
Leave
No,
a hole for a straw.
yeah, if you're drinking, definitely a straw. Like with this, Dan has a little bit of more leeway, like with the lower mouth, so I'm not too worried about it. But you know, if we're going both chin, lips, everything, definitely. And since we'll have facial hair around it, you know, there's a lot you can hide with that. Like I hate to come back to that, but yeah.
Well, if it's, It was kind of nice, the one I did a commercial in Toronto, and they actually got, Vietnamese food, something like that, chopsticks, so I was able to cut up, small pieces and
Yeah.
take the chopsticks. Or if you have gloves on, because I had these gloves that went all the way up in my arms and they were glued. So I can get them to take, we have an hour break for lunch, and I'll take those gloves off, which is nice. But if it's only like 15 minutes, it's just too much of a pain to take them off.
Yeah.
So I've actually had times where, I've had people have to feed me for about 10 minutes. Just to get a little something, but
Right,
usually if it's something
protein
like this,
shakes or
and
something like that.
if I'm gonna be on set for 12 hours or more, I usually have a really big breakfast. And then, certain shakes and stuff I can drink through a straw.
Now you're just stippling for, do that for freckle and that?
Yeah, since we're drawing to a close here, I was gonna put in at least a little bit of powder, so we're not just like going completely two-dimensional with it, like when we get back downstairs, you gotta do a lot more, but yeah, just sort of, add to the basic, character makeup, because, you do a ball cap and then you go from here up. I mean, a lot of you, obviously you're gonna color your actor's skin, but basically, that's it. More than anything, you would add some moles in, you would maybe come back in with, that one that we want somehow. Good times. Yeah, you might come back in like, with a little bit of just bring the white back out and, break up the red, but you would really just, give them some red, give them some character. Maybe add some moles, I'll be doing a little bit of freckles later and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, you go like that, and you just add in your reds, that's gonna be your basic, prosthetic application. You would definitely, do your final, sealing, you add a little bit of,
I'm still in that.
like, something to glisten it, that KY works well, there's actually something called Glisten Up that is a lot like my prosthetic paints that will stay stuck to his skin but keep him shiny. So, yeah, we're getting there. Oh, you're good. It's just that piece is not going to stick down. It's going to be like that. All right.
At least we're not doing this running around.
Yeah. I mean, well, once you get it on, you can. Once we get the beard on,
Oh,
we'll be
okay.
able to. Yeah, go, actually, do that point. Oh, yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we'll just bring the beard right underneath the prosthetic. All right. So it's 12:50, and since I got a little bit of cleaning up to do, I think we'll call that time. Thank you so much again, especially you two. I saw you both the whole time, and you. And you guys for popping in last minute, or were you here earlier when I started? Oh, just got here? Alright, yeah, it was just an introduction to foam prosthetics class, and yeah, so I appreciate it. I hope you learned anything. Pick up a flyer. Please don't hesitate to reach out if this is what you want to do. Like I said, if it's something I don't know, I am always happy to point you in the direction of someone who does. So.
Do you ever do like the YouTube tutorials?
I don't. I was gonna go more into opinion over like YouTube and social media, but I figure I'll just leave that gripe alone. And again, it comes back to sort of what the lady was asking, about like making your own prosthetic paints and stuff like that. There's a lot of great information. This is the one thing I'll say about it. There's a lot of great information on there, but there's also the people that glue pop cans to their eyeballs on there, type of thing. So for me, it's a very, very conflicted opinion, because Breaking the Art Mold Supply on YouTube, if you're into like mold making or you want to learn how to make some of this shit, great YouTubers, like by the book, top of the line, so like it really just depends. But yeah, I wouldn't believe everything. And that's also why I don't really want to do tutorials, because, you know, I know what I'm doing, you know, I was taught by some good people, but there's just so many people on YouTube, and I'm good. I would rather just do, you know. So, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Of course. You have a great day, guys, and I will see you down at Magic Wheelchair booth. Yeah, thank you. Actually, thank you so much for being as engaging as you are. Like I said, I'm not much.
I taught some classes where it's silence.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of audience participation. You know, like I said, some of them you know, but like, here's a good one. Like some of them, you know, like I said, we had to sacrifice for time. But like, you know, ideally, that's how you're gonna want it. And that's why I look for this spatter effect, because she was asking about how you would hide an edge.
Just bring out some of
Just
that red.
bring the spackle right in there, and you can tell that it's right there, you know, so.
Yeah, you're looking at.
Yeah, so I mean, ideally, like when you have the time to do it, that is how you look like, you know, that's, yeah, that's how I would.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm anxious to see the rest of it.
Oh, yeah, it'll be good. Awesome.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, you're welcome.